Okay, excuse me for recording this, but it's far quicker than it is for me to type it, and I don't have the time to type it, I'm afraid. But I am going to answer a few questions that people have raised. Firstly, no, it's not illegal to record yourself on a dash-mounted video whilst you're driving. It's no difference to speaking to the person next to you if you've got a front seat passenger, but I've got a terrier, so the conversation would be boring. Secondly, this whole thing, do I use e-collars? Yeah, I do. Yes, I absolutely do. I wouldn't. One glance at my website, question, just ask me. Yes, I use e-collars. Do I use them all the time? No. Am I reliant upon them? No. Well, it depends what the situation is, to be honest with you. Are they the best tool for a lot of behaviour modification jobs? Yes. And are they suited for every behaviour modification job? No. It's exactly the same as any other tool. Are they dangerous? No. Do they hurt? They can do. Well, they can make you startle if you turn them up full and you don't know when it's going to happen, or what it's going to feel like, or why it's happened, or how to control it, how to remove it, how to avoid it. Yeah, then it can startle you. Yeah, that can have a pretty negative effect on you. Is that the only way that they work? No. How do I use them? At the lowest levels possible, the lowest perceptible level that the dog can feel. And what does that feel like? Really, the only way you can find out is by putting one on your neck and feeling it, which I insist that anybody who I ever train with, where we've decided that a remote collar is the best option, that's exactly what we do. Put it on myself and let them turn it up so they can see, and then I put it on them and get them to turn it up so they can feel it. And I haven't yet met a single person who has been anything other than gobsmacked by what the sensation is in comparison to what they expected the sensation to feel like. I've lost count of the amount of people, thank you, I've lost count of the amount of people who have been absolutely blown away by their dog's favourable responses to something which they themselves can't even feel. So why gets this, he uses e-collars, yes, he uses e-collars, look at his website, don't entertain speaking to him, don't such and such, oh, grow up. Do you know what I mean? How pathetic. He uses e-collars. My dentist uses a drill. My builder's at home putting up a shed in the back garden. He uses a saw and a hammer. Peter Sutcliffe used a hammer. Therefore, is my builder a mass murderer? Is my builder some sort of serial killer? It's absolutely absurd. A remote training collar in itself does nothing. It's the intent of the person using it that causes harm. So you want people to be educated, you want people to understand what it is that they're talking about. And that comes from both sides of the argument. So if you're going to criticise something, you have to fully understand it. If you're going to endorse it, you have to fully understand it. If you're going to use it, you better bloody well understand it. And I don't care what that is. I don't care whether that's a canny collar, a head harness, a body harness, a slip lead, whatever. It makes no difference whatsoever. Do you know, but to sort of like make out that because one person's prepared to incorporate a tool or does incorporate a tool into a modification program which exists to enhance the welfare of the dog and the relationship that that dog has with not only its owner but society as a whole, and to say that that is negative or that person must be bad or particularly uneducated, that's even worse. Do you know what I mean? Saying that the person, oh, let's try and get him on here so that we can teach him about positive reinforcement. He obviously doesn't understand. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me that you don't think I understand about behavioural psychology? That's embarrassing. You know, but you never, no one's ever going to engage with you. No one's ever going to discuss things with you. I'd love to sit down and have a chat with people who have got opposing views to me. Fantastic. Discussion, it's healthy. I think there's a guy in here I sent a personal message to. It is healthy to discuss. You develop, you grow. But when you argue, when you enter into a discussion with barriers down, ears closed, eyes shut, fists clenched, do you know what I mean? Because you refuse to even consider what the other person is saying, then that's not a discussion, you know, and that isn't an open individual. There's nothing to learn from somebody like that, and that person will never learn anything either, other than what they wish to learn, which is that which will bolster your the opinions that you've already got, you know, the personal beliefs that you've already got. But training isn't about belief. It's about what actually happens, what is required, what works. You know, do I believe that a child should be hurt? No, I don't. But my daughter's best friend is 10 years old and she's got leukemia. You know, she's going through chemotherapy and is in agony as a result of it. Do I think that the doctors that are doing that are evil or that they're wrong? You know, they could rub homeopathic oils on her instead, or send her to a witch doctor. You know, she could sit in a smoky tent with someone shaking a stick around her to try and get rid of the evil spirits instead. But what's actually happening is that the doctors are applying science in the best way that they know to be able to achieve the most successful outcome for that child, which is to enhance her welfare and to save her life. You know, and so because they're using something that the child may find unpleasant or uncomfortable, or, you know, or causes them whatever, a feeling that they don't like, you know, it makes them sick. That doesn't mean that the person, therefore, let's not speak to those consultants, you know, oh yeah, uses drugs, you know, uses a scalpel. Does that make the person bad? It's ridiculous, you know, and it's frustrating, really frustrating, because if people stop clashing heads and actually sat down and talked, and even more so, experienced and did, there would be a huge transformation in the way that people see training and behaviour modification. A huge one for the better for the dogs, because ultimately I couldn't give a toss what somebody thinks about me. I couldn't care less, and to be honest, I don't really care about anybody else. If I can learn from somebody, that's great, but I'm not going to suddenly, it's not the person that I'm bothered about, it's the dog. Do you know what I mean? It's the result for the dog. Is the dog in a better place than it was prior to the commencement of that behaviour modification protocol? If it is, I've done my job. If it is and the dog's happy, I'm happy. If it isn't, I need to learn. If it isn't, I need to go back and look at it and go about it a different way. Do you know what I mean? But I don't get it. I don't get where you're expecting to go by closing ranks and sort of like, you know, let's educate this moron, you know, who uses e-collars. Look at his website, big capital letters. Look at his website. Yeah, I sell Dogtra and I sell Educator. So what? Do you know what I mean? The difference is that if you look at my website, you'll also see that I strongly recommend, and almost in every case have done, that an input is given on the correct use of a remote training collar. I could just sell them on eBay, couldn't I? You could just go on there and buy whatever you want. Everyone else does. But I choose not to do that because I actually give a toss about the dogs that I'm training, and I spend more time doing that than I do sat on forums bantering my personal bias against other people, and trying to get others to bolster my ego or my you know, make me feel better, because I'm surrounding myself with people who make me believe that what I believe is right. Do you know what? Train dogs, man. Get out there and do it. Get out there and train dogs. And I know that there's going to be people saying, oh, I train dogs. Oh, I've been training dogs for umpteen years. Good on you. And if you're getting success, great. But other people are training dogs and they're getting success. So really, it makes no difference. Provided that the dogs are well looked after, that the dogs are happy, that they're psychologically and physically sound, it makes no difference. The rest is sort of like within your own heads. Forget it, man. Forget it. Thank you.